Lightning and Mater go overseas for a race. Mater is recruited as a spy or something. After several successful years on top of the racing world, Lightning McQueen is nearing the end of his career. He then sets out to keep it going and discover something about himself.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 99.
almost 100, y'all.
We've done a lot of these.
We have done a lot
99 problems.
And Cars 2 is one.
Oh,
It's a few of those, right?
thought you shipped it, Emily. I thought you shipped it. We'll get into this, though.
I mean,
Shipped it? What's that mean?
like,
This week,
Like she supports it.
we are talking about both Cars 2 and Cars 3.
We decided to do a double feature because if we had done a single episode of Cars 2, we were assuming that nobody would really listen to it, right? Because it's Cars 2. But the good news is Andre has now officially seen every released Pixar movie. Snaps to Andre.
I'm going to go ahead and give my first impression right now.
I did. Andre.
I can go ahead and just delete this
What
whole
is
movie
your
from
first
my
impression?
memory. I don't care about it at all. It was a hot pile of trash that I
He
didn't
was so
appreciate.
mad, Emily.
And it took me 2 sessions to watch because I fell asleep like nearly on purpose towards the end of this.
Well, you definitely fell asleep the last 30 minutes, and you were like, "I'm not even gonna go back. I don't care what
Well,
happened."
that's not true. I had to. I woke up and watched the last 30
you
minutes.
did.
there's good Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Sure. This morning when we were watching Cars 3, he was like not excited, right? I was like, let's watch Cars 3 in the bedroom so we can fold our laundry on the bed and, like multitask. And he was like, whatever. I don't know. He was like, Cars 2 put me in such a bad mood. I don't want to watch Cars 3. But then as we were watching Cars 3, he was like, oh, okay. Good. So there's that. That was Andre's first impression of Cars 2. He had to get it out of his system. Luis, what's your first impression of Cars 2?
You definitely, it's a fine wine. You gotta, watch it a couple times. Let it age a bit in your memories.
Andre's like a couple times.
I know.
It was good. I liked it because of the whole scene thing. I love the Grand Prix type races. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
So I was kind of into that, just because I do like Grand Prix races. And the secret agent stuff is also pretty cool. I mean, to me, I got to look past just kind of the weirdness of it and then think about it like it's 2 separate movies in one. It's an awesome spy movie. It's also an awesome racing movie. So I just got to focus on that, and it's a decent movie for me.
All right, very good.
But that's not his original first impression. What is your original first impression the first time you saw it?
I really don't remember, but
He
if
said
she's
it was
bringing it up, it's probably
Hot
bad.
garbage. Hot garbage.
Yeah, so the first time we saw this movie, originally, we thought, hot pile of garbage, never watching it again, not doing it, absolutely not. And then, only the good Lord knows why we watched it a second time, because I don't remember. But we were like, oh, it's not so bad. And really, we liked it more the second time for sure. But the first time we thought, like, it was the worst thing. It was way too long. There was way too much going on. The second time, also agreed it was very long, but we liked it better.
Way too long. Yeah,
it's like, I guess it's, maybe you can appreciate it more the second time, but Andre, you don't have to take a second time. I get it. Sometimes you just
Cars 2 has been deleted in my memory as the second Cars film in the franchise. It now goes Cars 1 and then Cars Legacy. Those are my 2 Cars movies that
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Andre. When you guys have a kid, that's the first movie they're going to watch at my house so that they can go home and watch it on repeat at your house. How about that?
Man, how are we going to avoid taking our kids over to their house for
That's literally impossible.
25 years.
We'll be the last one of our friends have kids. We don't need all the help we can get.
Um,
So my first impression of Cars 2 is the same as yours and Luis's. I thought it was hot garbage because the year before, Toy Story 3 came out, and that made you feel all the things. And then I saw this in the theater. That was a bunch of hot garbage. You know what I mean? But I will say that this is the second time I watched it. it was fine. I liked it a little bit more because I knew it was going to be silly. And I like Mater, but Andre did not like Mater.
Yeah.
The first time we watched it, we did not like Mater. We were like, this is too much Mater. And they
It's a Mater
obviously
movie.
did that on
It's
purpose.
not a Lightning McQueen movie like at all. It is a Mater movie.
But it's funny then because in the third movie, Luis is like, they must have gotten feedback that people hated Mater.
Yeah.
She's literally not in it at all.
Like
Yeah.
barely in it. Well, and that's what I told Andre. I was like, Cars 1 and Cars 3 kind of have the same vibes going on. Cars 2, I think it was like a cartoon they accidentally flushed down the toilet one time. Like, I don't know. I don't know
It's
where.
Luxio for sure.
I don't know where that came from, and that's why it's the worst rated Pixar movie. And fun fact, the only Pixar movie that was never nominated for an Oscar nor Best Picture because it's hot garbage.
Yeah.
So
I said nay.
I couldn't even imagine. On Mater, he is the Jar Jar Binks of this movie. He is a bumbling buffoon who gets himself into all kinds of ridiculous situations that he happens to like luck himself into or whatever. And then by the end of it, he actually is like kind of good at his spy thing, and they want him to be a spy or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, for he feels like Jar Jar Binks to me. That's the level of Mater that's in this movie.
So I like Mater. I also kind of thought Lightning McQueen was kind of being a jerk to him a lot of the time because Mater is Mater. He is a buffoon. He is an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how Mater is. I loved him in the first movie. He was more annoying in the second movie, absolutely, for sure. Like, they really played it up. But it was fine. Like, it didn't bother me that much. You know what I mean? But I'm assuming it really bothered Luis. So let's hear it, Lou.
No, that didn't bother me actually. First time, I don't remember. I mean, you're asking me to remember things I don't remember because I don't remember them.
He hated it so much he like put it out of his brain.
Blocked it out.
Yeah, he's not my most hated, annoying character in the world.
He dislikes Olaf still more than Mater.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's like a million piles of Olaf before you get to Mater in my hate list. So.
Just a big old snow pile.
A million piles of Olaf. All right, makes sense. Not mad about it. Not mad about it.
Can we pause it?
The recording? Yes.
Yeah.
Mater bug you in this movie?
The first time. Oh. And even this time, he's not my favorite character. I'm not usually fond of Larry the Cable Guy.
No.
Like,
Right.
he's just not, I don't know, being a white person, I'm like,
I'm more of the other guy when it comes to that group of comedians. What's his
Jeff
name?
Foxworthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, it's a little too much sometimes. But I did like the first scene of this movie where it was all like super agency. I thought it was like a really good setup to like this cool agent movie. And then you threw in like too much bumbling idiocy where it was like, it didn't like cohesively come together like you were saying. But I like the whole idea of like the underappreciated cars coming together to rule the world. It was pretty fun.
The lemon.
I like that idea. I thought it was cute.
Yeah. And honestly, I liked most of the spy stuff. Like, that was really fun. But I also really liked, what is the Italian car's name?
Francesco.
Francesco. I like Francesco.
Oh, yeah.
Here,
He's hilarious.
Oh, the
Formula
racer. Yeah.
Yes,
He's
let's take a look at the
And it's so
cast.
funny because I work with kids and the Cars franchise is still huge. You can buy literally every single freaking car in every single movie that you don't even know has a name. So like watching Cars 2 again, I was like, oh, that's where those cars are from. You know what I mean?
Finn McNissel, Mr. Michael Caine.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
Michael Caine. Here,
Well,
being
and
a
they just,
spy.
yes. And they just like have all of the toys where I'm like, who is that? And now I remember, I'm like, oh, it's
Eddie
Francesco.
Izzard.
For sure.
Yeah.
Luis is over here. Oh, Eddie Izzard.
Yeah,
Miles
Eddie Izzard was
Axelrod.
Miles
Axelrod.
Axelrod, the revealed bad guy.
Yeah, it's got a stacked lineup.
I mean, yeah, there's a ton of people in this movie. It was directed by our favorite gropey guy, John Lasseter, and
Our favorite groper.
Yeah, starred Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy, and a whole bunch of other people's out here acting as cars.
Yeah.
Go to what's his name? The actor who does. There he goes. John Turturro.
John Turturro,
Francesco.
who played Francesco. Yeah, this guy's cool. He was in the
A Francesco.
Find a picture of all of the like cars. Like go
like
to
all of the characters.
yeah, just go back and then
Like
there's like a
Cars
photo
2
right there in the corner.
characters?
Click on that thing.
Oh.
Let's take a
Okay.
gander.
Here we go. So you can buy every single freaking car possible, and people have all these, and I always saw the Francesco car and was like, I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what the purple car is, or even like,
Holy shit, well.
or even the Raul Caruli or something. Like that car,
Yeah.
there are so many of those cars where I work, and I'm like, don't remember this from any of the movies at all.
That's the
And
French
all
car.
the kids
Yeah.
want that car because it looks cool, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck that is, but now I kind of know.
That's
So,
a French racer.
I think I did this originally, like, when we did Cars 1, but because I grew up in a household that was super big on NASCAR, certain things are very funny to me that I think other people wouldn't think are funny.
Okay.
Like, you can see the die-cast cars we're looking at right here on the screen. Number
Yeah.
7 is Jeff Corvette,
Yes.
but like one of the biggest racers is Jeff Gordon, right?
Yes,
So
and I
it's
think
like-
I recognized him in 3
Interesting.
this time.
Yeah, because he was in 3 too. So it's funny how they take like the different people and use their names or use the
Yeah.
different like references to real life, which is really funny.
See, look, they even got all the lemon cars. You can buy the lemons. Come on,
Who doesn't
Oh
want a
my God.
lemon?
gotta get those.
Poland race die-cast set of lemons. That's hilarious.
I like
And it's
it.
out of stock. That's the best part.
I like the weird car with the one wheel in the
Because
front.
these things are intense collectibles, okay? I'm telling you, I had a client who literally has every single one of these cars from the movie, and I would accidentally mix in the Cars 2 cars with the Cars 3 cars, and he would lose his mind. He's like, they don't go together,
How
okay?
dare ya.
This is this
But they
movie,
don't
this
go
movie,
together,
and
no.
this movie. You know, you got to get it right, which I'm
know.
not that knowledgeable about cars, so.
What'd you say, Lou?
Get it right, meta type.
Get it right. Get it right, man.
Yeah. So we had a large cast.
a large car cast of cars.
Indeed.
Die-cast
That's
cars.
a tongue twister.
Die cast.
So
cars.
just in case you were lucky and didn't watch Cars 2, I will
We told them to watch it.
I would
They
just
did.
say that yeah, it does have an interesting concept about it. They really went in a very, very different direction with Cars 2 from Cars 1. They set it overseas. They added this entire spy element, but I think to me it felt like the plot just kind of like got out of hand as things went along. It felt very confusing and bumpy to me, which is especially hard considering how kiddie it feels compared to Cars 1. Like it feels like
a TV movie for sure.
it feels like it's really meant for little baby kids, and they
Little baby
they
kid.
throw in this whole like oil alternative fuel plot in there, and I don't,
all in all.
I don't know. Yeah, all in all, I don't know how much how much little kids were responding to that in particular. But there's a flying car in it, so I mean they're definitely responding to that.
I think the thing that weirded me out about this movie the most, and I vividly remembered it when I first started watching it upon this viewing, is that there was boats that had faces, and I was like, what's going on here? Like, why are
is
there
cool.
boats and planes that have faces? This is a Cars movie. What are we doing? And I remember that freaking me out. Like, when I
Like,
saw it.
if the mobiles have faces, then why wouldn't all mobiles have faces?
Yeah,
I
it's an
get it,
utopia
but like
world.
all of the background stuff, like even when they're in Italy, the landscape is like Cars stuff. Like the landscape of everything is Cars stuff, and that's like where it looks really beautiful. I love that they tie that stuff in.
Yeah,
Ain't no landscaping and no boats and planes, so they can get out of here. Like this movie isn't for you.
The hierarchy.
Well, Michelle, I
This
pose
movie
this
ain't
question
for
to
you.
you.
What?
Can you ship a ship on land?
Can you ship
No.
a ship?
I can't.
Can you fly a airplane on the ground?
No.
I mean,
So that's why you have the landscape as cars, because they're the only ones that touch the earth.
It's stupid.
Now-
Okay, this isn't the planes movie. Get out of here, planes. Get
Okay.
out of here.
Hey, whoa.
We like planes.
Yes.
We
Planes
like
too.
planes. I like planes too.
I don't know nothing
I
about.
also
Fire
like
and
planes.
rescue.
I don't know nothing about
That
planes,
Planes
but
movies are very good. Andre's never seen them.
I haven't seen them. But the possibility of the planes and the boats being there and having faces and talking is all fine. That all makes perfect sense to me. What doesn't make sense is the hierarchy of society, where the boats and the planes are literally just like boats and planes. They're just machines and tools used to carry around the cars. And
They're slaves.
yeah,
They're car slaves.
it's really weird. They're just as sentient as the cars. Like, I don't understand why none of these boats have any
Also-
agency.
Also, another thing that didn't make sense to me is
How do we
if
know
for
they're
Cars
the S
1,
word?
what?
How do we even know they're the S word? For all you know, they get paid
The
to provide an essential service.
They're prisoners with jobs.
I don't know, man. But the thing that bugged me even more is that in Cars 1, for me, the Cars universe is a separate universe. This is a universe where cars are like humans. You know what I mean? There's no humans in this universe. It's cars, okay? And then,
No, there's not.
okay, you know, I didn't need the Queen of England as a car. I didn't need
Oh, okay, well, that was
the
funny.
India one as a car. You know, I was like, what is going on here? This was too much for me.
That was
You
funny.
thought that was funny?
I mean, yeah,
No.
why not?
It's a separate universe to me. They shouldn't be.
And to knight him, she pulled up her antenna.
Okay,
and did
but that part was funny. But it was just like, okay, we're getting a little carried away with these.
I mean, Florida and America exist in the first one. So to extrapolate that out and say that, you know, the
But
Queen is also a
there
car.
was no president car. Okay.
Not that he didn't have to get involved in Cars 1, you know?
Or whatever.
Because the president doesn't watch NASCAR, but apparently
Yeah.
the Queen watches Formula One racing. So
Yeah,
there you go.
that's-
Or Grand Prix racing or whatever.
That's plausible.
I would say the funniest thing from this movie to me was when Mater was in the bathroom in Japan. That was the funniest. Or it was
So
a
like when
day
the
in
other,
car
so there's a
wash.
real spy. There's a real spy car that he ends up getting mistaken for, which it really sets off the whole movie. But
Mm-hmm.
the spy car is like beating up other spies or bad guys in the bathroom, and Mater's just trying to like go to the bathroom, but there's like a fancy Japanese bidet, and so he's pushing buttons and he's getting oiled.
He's getting squirted.
Squirted.
What does he say?
I feel bad for him. He's like, I never leak oil. I never leak oil. I never leak oil. And that's what I was saying. Lightning McQueen was being kind of mean to him in this movie. Like, Lightning
Yeah.
McQueen. I felt like Lightning McQueen was annoying me. Like, he was being mean to Mater. I don't like it.
Well, I've said on multiple occasions that Mater is very much like a dog. Like
Yeah.
he prances like a puppy that gets excited,
Right.
and like for him
Yeah.
to say he never leaks, it's like he got excited and peed. Like he's
That's
like a
sad.
he's like
That
a-
was traumatizing.
he's like a
It
dog.
was. And that's why I
I'm there
didn't
for
like
you,
it.
Michelle.
And Mater was like, or Lightning was like, pull yourself together, Mater. I'm like, you calm down, Lightning McQueen. You brought your best friend here. He ain't gonna change for you. Okay.
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 Whatever.
Going through 3 accents.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that both Lightning and Mater needed some help all along this trip. Like
You need some help.
Lightning needed to be more accepting of Mater's ridiculous behavior, and then Mater also should have been like, I'm going to a different place. Maybe I should compose myself just a little bit. And that you can't change me. I'm Mater all the time. That kind of mentality, like, that'll get you beat up and in a whole
Oh my
spy
God.
scenario. Obvious.
So Andre and Michelle, remember this when you guys go to Japan. You guys got to pull yourself together. Okay.
Right. I'm gonna learn some words of the
Okay.
language. I'm gonna check out the fashion.
Number
I'm
one
gonna,
thing you don't do in Japan, you don't cross the chopsticks, and you don't put your chopsticks in the rice upright. That is rude.
it's rude.
Because
You
they cross chopsticks when you die.
You're also not supposed to scoop a whole thing of wasabi onto your plate and eat
Nope.
it like ice cream.
Nope.
Don't do that
Like
either.
pistachio.
Oh, hey, I don't know about you, but that would have been my first instinct if I've never seen wasabi before.
He
I'd
said
be like,
more.
"Is that
He's
More.
like, it's free, ain't it? It is free, Mater. You're right.
That was funny. There were funny parts to this movie.
Yeah, the movie was funny,
It-
but it was overall, not a theater quality movie.
Right.
Well, it's funny that you say that because maybe plot line wise, maybe not so much, but I thought like animation wise, it was very beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Like they did a really good job with like what they were like showing on screen. I thought was really well done.
For sure, always. I just meant like the storyline.
For sure.
And I think because they were like, let's go in like a completely different direction from the Cars movie, it just didn't have that same Cars universe vibe to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like I was in, I mean, obviously we weren't in Radiator Springs, but it didn't have that same vibe to me where I was like, wow, this is a Cars movie. Like, it was just different. It almost felt like those Mater shorts that they throw in there where it's just like ridiculous stuff, you know?
Which I actually absolutely love those Mater shorts. They're very funny.
Yeah, I think they're funny.
That's a good amount of Mater for Andre, I would say, just because.
Right. Yeah. 7 minutes is the amount of Mater that I want.
Movie, if not. Yeah.
Yeah, not an hour and 45 minutes of Mater.
Let's rate it. Are we done? Oh, Emily, what are the Easter eggs? You said you had a lot of Easter eggs.
Oh, there's a lot of in too. So Easter egg wise in this guy, we have our normal A113, right? We have Mater's license plate when he's towing Lightning McQueen through the streets of whatever the last place they were. What was that, Italy?
Yeah, London,
you're right. When they're going through London and he's pulling him away from the missile or the thing or the bomb, whatever, he has A113 on his license plate. A113 is also on the tail of the jet plane that takes them off when he's in the spy jet, the one that's, subservient. And then when they keep popping up the under hood of the Boss Lemon car, right, that we figure out is Axelrod later, that pop-up shows a item catalog number on the engine block, which says A113 as well.
Oh.
There's 2 different Pizza Planet trucks in this movie, which is pretty cool. There's an actual Pizza Planet truck car at the Radiator Springs race at the end. He's like sitting in the infield and he has like the little what do you call that? The little plant, the rocket?
Yeah.
The little rocket thing on the head, on the roof. And then also when they're panning out at Buckingham Palace in London, you also see a little Cars 2 car at the bottom near the statue. The cool thing is I have pictures for all of these so I can post them on Instagram and maybe we can do like a thing on the crack in the ball.
Yeah.
And then at one point they go into a pub and they show like all kinds of cars lined up and there is a tapestry up on the wall and that tapestry has all of the Cars characters, but it's the exact same tapestry that they show in Brave. So it's like a Celtic looking tapestry. And I think we talked about that in our Brave episode as well. And then when they're coming back into Radiator Springs, there's like a marquee in the background showing a drive-in movie theater.
Yeah, I saw that.
It shows that they went and saw the Incredimobiles.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's cute. Funny.
Yeah, and then my favorite one that I made Luis go back like 3 times because I was really excited was when they're in France and they're panning over the city. You see Gusteau's, right? Oh. But it's like a car, and I can't remember what it says, but it's Gusteau's from like Ratatouille up on the top of the car. It's very cute.
Well, did you also? I like kind of had forgotten like where the Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters like ride had come from, but when they go to Italy and they're like visiting Uncle Topolini, I was like, oh my God, we're on the ride, and I love that part. That was so cute.
Oh, for sure. It definitely ties that ride into the Cars universe.
Yeah,
versus it just being like the shop there, which is really cool.
For sure.
Can we move straight on to Cars 3?
Well, do we want to rate Cars 2 first?
Oh, no rating. It's awful. No, I'm joking.
He said
dang! Okay, let Andre talk about ratings and money and we'll rate it real quick.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so
Andre's like, it didn't make any money. We don't have to talk about it.
It actually did.
It did make money.
Yeah.
Cars 2 had a budget. Let's see. What was it? What was the budget? Actually, did I even put it up on here? I don't think I did. Oh, that's Cars 3. Squeeze me.
You have Cars 2. Oh no, that's your Rotten Tomato.
Let's just find it.
If you guys are listening to this, Andre using like the screen splitter, and it's super cool because we get to see all of what he's seeing. You don't have to listen to him.
Usually
Just
pull
kidding.
up when we like record it and stuff, you know.
Correct. So Cars 2.
Yeah, we were like we said. I had said the fact that it was the first Pixar movie since Pixar debuted in 2001 that was not nominated for an Oscar or for Best Animated Feature. So they like kind of broke their streak in 2011, which 10 years later, I mean, for them to break their streak, that's pretty good. But then we were reading on money, and this movie made money.
Made a ton of money. It had a...
people were still going to see it. It was like their first flop, if you think about it.
Yeah, it had a budget of $200 million, and it ended up making a worldwide total of $559 million. It made $500 million.
Double its money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about how big...
No. It just...
But think about how big that Cars 1 was.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you're going to see Cars 2.
Like, people were still going to see it, and they didn't know it was going to be bad. Like, you're still going to go to see it, and then you're like, oh, it sucked. You know what I mean? Because Pixar
look at the domestic... Oh, sorry. Look at the domestic return. That was almost their full amount right there.
900,000 less?
It was 191 million that they made just domestic. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Correct. Yeah, this movie did gangbusters. You know, a bunch of people went to go see it. Not me, but a bunch of people did.
I went and I saw it. Yeah.
We did not see. I didn't see it. I saw it. No. Were we? Nope.
No. In the theater? I did.
Now, a bunch of people spent their money on this movie, but not a bunch of people liked it. You know, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 39%.
That is so bad.
Critic score, and then the audience score is only 49%.
It says Cars 2 is Cars 2 is as visually appealing as any other Pixar production, but all that dazzle can't disguise a rusty storytelling under the hood. Yeah.
That's actually a very good description, I think. Because it's beautiful, but it's kind of...
The music wasn't as good because they didn't have that, like, country Cars-esque feel to it. To me, where I wasn't noticeably, like, you can hear most music from Pixar movies and, like, be like, that's from that movie. But it didn't have anything that stood out in the score. You know what I mean? So I'm ready to rate it. I'm going to give this movie a 6. I mean, it's not terrible. It's good for what it is. It is still beautiful. But it is a flop for me still, especially for a Pixar movie. So it's getting a 6. I'm giving it not a 5 because I like Mater. So
I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna give it a 6 as well because, I mean, I would probably watch it again because Addie really liked it. And when you have a kid that likes something, it makes it more enjoyable because they get all excited when they see something on the screen. Doesn't actually mean that like you want to sit down and watch it, right? But because she like got excited over it and stuff, and she was literally saying Meidu, it was like, okay, this is pretty cute. But I agree with everything you said, Michelle. It's not like fantastic, but I do like the racing references, and I thought that the spies were pretty cute. But I'm gonna say like a 6. I'm gonna give it a 6. Yeah, that's a good score.
Louis.
I think a 6 as well. Because it's, like we said before, we hated it the first time. Second time around is a little bit more enjoyable. But just enjoyable enough to go from a 1 to a 6.
From a 0.
Okay, it was probably like a 4 the first time, and it went to a 6 this time for me. You know, this is fine. It's fine. It ain't going to get any higher than that. So, Andre.
Yeah, this is a low one. I think I'm gonna give it a 5.
That's nice.
In the last episode,
that's nice because he did not like it, guys. He was not having it.
That's like a solid F.
Yeah, it's definitely an F.
True.
In the last episode, we had said that this movie might be kind of similar to Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift because they go overseas and they go to Tokyo.
It was not.
And it's kind of a bumpkin. Moving overseas, but I think I want to amend that and say that it's a lot more like Fast and Furious 9 or 10 or whatever number that they're on now.
9, 10.
And Cars 1 was Fast and the Furious 1, and so the jump from 1 to 2 was like this, and I needed several more parts in between there to set up all the crazy, fantastical, nonsensical things that were happening in this one. And the
Oh, we
Okay,
didn't need
fair
it.
enough.
I don't want it. I don't need it.
I don't
exactly.
want it.
Yeah, that's basically the point. Is that they needed all that extra stuff to put in there to make me happy, and I didn't want any of that stuff in the first place. And I'll also say that Cars 2, it in comparison to the other Pixar sequels, especially since this was the first one since Toy Story 2, it's just such a letdown in comparison. Like Toy Story 2 was a completely different story. It had a whole different set of storytelling rules.
Finding Dory is
and
better than
villains and
this.
stuff like that. All of them, they're all better than this. The Good Dinosaur is better than this, and I hate The Good Dinosaur.
Hey,
Hate is a strong word. I think you gave it an okay
Hey.
score.
Luis likes The Good Dinosaur. He told you to back off Arlo right now.
all right. I won't rip on the dinosaur movie.
The point is, Andre didn't like it.
Right, and I'm explaining why, because it's bad. Anyway, that's it for Cars 2.
Okay,
great
so
explanation.
Andre
Enough
just made a
said.
comment on how we were comparing Cars 2 to Fast and Furious franchise stuff, right? Okay, well, when we were watching Cars 3, which we'll get into and we'll give our first impressions, we were comparing it to Star Wars, which was really funny. So, yeah, it's a Star Wars movie, dude. Cars 3,
I mean,
for sure.
in some ways, sure. Do you want to explain why?
We'll get into it when we start talking about the
All
movie.
right.
So, Cars
Oh, I want to
3.
hear this.
I think
No,
this
you
is
already brought it up.
Talk
Just
about it
talk
now.
about
You need to
Okay.
explain what you just said.
because
Why don't you just bring up stuff and then move on?
because it was like a Padawan moving to a Jedi, moving to the mentor, taking on a new Padawan. So like Doc was like the OG. Doc was like Qui-Gon, and then and Lightning McQueen is like Luke. No, he's like
There
Obi-Wan,
you go.
and now Cruz is like Luke Skywalker.
There you go.
You're like
So,
Luke Skywalker.
I had said during us watching it that the legacies that are set up in this are kind of like Star Wars. It's kind of like you have to follow the Force, you have to follow your master that was before you and become a master now in that way.
Which I hate. I hate that.
Do you?
Forge your own path.
Oh well,
Get
yeah.
your own stuff. Like, you don't need to follow no person telling you what to do. Go be your own woman, Cruz.
You don't need a mentor.
Dang, she went there. So no, we're not saying it's like a Star Wars movie. We're just saying that the legacies and the moving on kind of reminded us of it.
Right.
Legacies are stupid.
Whatever. Okay, continuing. Cars 3. I'll
Giving you
give
guys a
my
hard-
first impression first. I think this was the third time I've seen Cars 3. Andre and I did go to see it in the theater. I saw it when it came out on video, and I think this is my third time seeing it. Cars
We
3,
waited for-
I love Cars 3. It is really, really good. My first impression, like when I first went to see it in the theater, I was absolutely not excited. I don't really get excited for Cars movies in general. It's not my cup of tea. And the second one was a flop, and the first one was fine for me at the time. Like, Cars movies aren't my jam. Cars Land is my jam. So for
Right.
Cars 3, like, it was good. It was so much better. I felt like they redeemed themselves. The cinematography was just absolutely stunning. So it was so much better than the second one.
Animated cinematography.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The
I like
animated cinematography was great. And I remember seeing
It
the
looked
trailer.
like they were shooting on location for show.
I know they did. They were shown on location, and I remember the trailer just
Beach.
being the beach.
The beach
Trailer.
this morning, I was like, I want to be on a beach.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we all do.
Not allowed.
The trailer for this
What
movie
does it look
was just lightning crashing.
For sure.
I remember
We were
being
talking
like,
about that.
I have no idea what this movie's about. This just lightning crashing,
That,
but it
that
looks
was
sick.
intense, sure.
Mhm.
But it looks sick. So it's a
Is
good
she like,
movie. I
He
know.
died?
The
No.
trailer was really good because like they really made it so dramatic, pausing and going
Yeah.
slow. That I was
Yeah.
like, dang.
I know. I remember seeing that, and they were like, "Oh, they're trying to redeem themselves right now because Cars 2 was not great, right? Nobody really wanted nor needed another Cars movie. So it's so much better. It's a really good Cars movie. I like it a lot. Emily, first impression.
Okay, so my first impression is that in general, I like this movie. I do. I think it's long.
Mm.
It-
Yeah. They're all too long.
They take like their time with these Cars movies. Like, let's spin it up. Like, there's some scenes I think that they could have taken out and it would have still been impactful. But what are you gonna do? But it's funny because when I watch movies with Luis now, we find very different things like sometimes we think the same thing is funny, but in this regard, some of the things I thought were hilarious he hated, and vice versa.
Okay.
So that makes it interesting when you're like, oh my god, that was so funny, and you look over and they're like, that was stupid.
Okay.
But I did like it.
Lou, what's your first impression?
Okay. This movie was pretty much how should I say? Okay, I'm gonna compare it to one time in my life. I ordered a portobello burger. Okay, and here I was thinking, oh, portobello. I thought portobello was some type of fancy beef. It was a dang mushroom.
Yeah.
I bit into it. And
everybody knows it's a mushroom.
Okay.
Not
Obviously not, because I'm telling you a story of how I didn't know. But anyways, let me get to the point. The bread was awesome, amazing. The bread was great. It's just the middle part that stunk. Okay, that's exactly what this movie was. I loved the beginning of it with the whole racing, back and forth, rookies coming in. The middle part where they sell the business up until cruise that they leave the beach. Awful. God awful. And then the last part, it was great, just like the first part.
You didn't like Miss Fritter?
So Cars 3 was a portobello burger.
Okay.
For me.
For Louis.
All right, Andre.
As I like to compare everything.
That was a great analogy, Luis. I really love it.
I love a portobello burger, and I like this movie a lot too. So I guess I'm right there with you on the comparison.
Andre loves mushrooms. That's his favorite vegetable. That's why when you're talking about it, I'm laughing so hard because Andre loves a good portobello mushroom.
Yes, this movie was a really good palate cleanser to get the terrible taste of Cars 2 out of my mouth. Because we watched them, back to back. Last night was Cars 2. This morning was Cars 3. And
he was not excited this morning. He was like, "We have to watch this Cars movie," and I was like, "Yes, turn it on. Like, let's watch it." But as it went on, he was like, "Oh, thank God!" Like, literally, those were the words out of his mouth. Like, this is so much better.
Did I say that? Yes.
Yeah, you did.
I felt very satisfied with this movie in comparison to Cars 2. And had we watched Cars 1 again for this round of Cars viewing, then I think I would have enjoyed it just as much.
So there's a lot of really cool Easter eggs in this movie. Just like all the other Pixars, I feel like with each movie, there's like more and more that you can look after. And like, honestly, I've seen like 50 and I'm not going to talk about all 50. So have fun finding them on your own. But these are the ones that really stuck out. And some of them I was able to find on my own, but some of them, you hear about doing some research. But one of the most obvious ones that we see in this movie is the A113, and I'm sure you guys saw it.
Yes.
When Lightning McQueen goes in to talk to Mr. Sterling in his office at the new Rusty's training complex, it's the office number on Mr. Sterling's door. So Lightning's standing there, and you see A113 is his office suite number. We also see a Pizza Planet truck racing in the derby, in the destruction derby, and you actually see the planet, not the planet, I keep calling it the
rocket.
The rocket fly off the top of the car and run into the crowd, and someone in the crowd gets super excited, picks it up, and is like, ah! Which I thought was very funny. You also see the Luxo ball in this one. The Luxo ball is painted like in 2D on top of one of the demo racer cars. It's on the hood of the car. So at one point, is it Miss Fritter? Mrs. Fritter, the school bus, is like pushing all the cars towards Lightning McQueen, and the poor car stuck in the middle is the one with the Luxo ball on the hood, which is really funny. So it's the poor car being steamrolled. We see two different references to Coco in this movie, which is pretty cool because Coco came out after this. You see when they're in the training complex, you see, which I thought that's one of my favorite scenes in this whole thing is the whole training complex. But the different cars are getting their different training modules, and one of them is like really sad and he misses home. And what's her name? Cruz. Yeah. Cruz is like, "Oh, are you homesick?" And he's like, "See." And he's like, "Well, let me put this on for you." And she throws up a picture of Santa Cecilia.
Yeah.
And he gets excited because it's like his hometown. And when Lisa and I saw it, we were like, "Oh my God, that's from Coco for sure." But it is like the picture that they show you on the advertisement for Coco.
Gotcha.
And then at the end of the movie, you see Lightning and Cruz, and they're doing a whole bunch of like flashbacks to Doc Hudson, and they're watching it on the projector.
Mm-hmm.
And in the background, you can see Coco's guitar, or not Coco's guitar. What's his name?
Miguel.
Well, Miguel's guitar, but it was what's his name? It was De La Cruz's, Ernesto's.
Well, technically, his great grandpa's the.
Oh, that's true. So it really was what's his name? Chamaco Man, but whatever. So
Right.
you see the guitar on the back of the wall shining like in the garage, which is really cool.
Gotcha.
What else? You see a couple you see advertisements all over the world. On all the different billboards and that kind of stuff. You see references to By and Large, Triple Dent Gum, which we've talked about from multiple, right?
By and Large is Wally, right?
Yes. This one was really bizarre to me, but I do have a picture of it. The live action Cinderella had already come out, and they had like a metal looking trophy of the Cinderella carriage inside of Mr. Sterling's office, like in his collection case, which I thought was very
weird.
bizarre, but whatever. It was there. And then there's more. There's like obviously like a million things to Dynaco and to racing and to all those other types of things, just because it's easy with all the advertisements. But one of the last ones that I thought was cool, I didn't write it down, but I have it right here. Mrs. Fritter, the school bus, has all of the license plates, right, hung on her side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she also has a
trophies.
street sign that's on the side of her car, and it says W Cutting Boulevard, and that is a homage to where Pixar was first located in Richmond, right, in the San Francisco area for all of our California natives. And so they're not there anymore, but that was where they first were. And the first time you saw that sign was in Andy's bedroom. And I want to say the last time you saw it was in Toy Story 3, I think, up on Andy's wall. And now it is on Miss Fritter.
Interesting.
So she is wearing it as a token of winning, which I thought was pretty cool.
God, I love Miss Fritter. She's hilarious.
She was
hilarious.
awesome.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Okay, so you finished your first impression?
Yes, I did.
I did my first impression. Did Luis do his first impression?
Yep.
Emily.
Portobello Burger.
Yes,
Or
Emily.
Pepper.
Oh wait.
Okay,
Yeah.
Emily, what is your first impression of Cars 3?
It was good. I liked it a lot. It was cute. I think I did my first
Yeah, you
impression.
did. You
I did
did.
my first impression.
No?
It was better than me, yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
said that it was funny that we thought different things were funny or annoying.
Yeah, you went first.
I think we're done with first impressions then. So let's get into this movie.
So this one goes back much like the first movie. It follows a very similar trajectory. It's about racing, it's about a rookie, and it's about the non-rookie, the veteran, and it's about
Star Wars.
It's about freaking Star Wars, whatever, Padawans. So
What did you say it's also like? What's that Miyagi
The
movie?
Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid.
For sure. Anytime they're out and they're doing some weird, wild
Driving on the beach.
driving on the
and-
beach, they're driving through the cows or whatever, the
Yeah.
tractors, they're throwing bales of hay. Anytime they're doing some like redneck training stuff, it's definitely Karate Kid.
it's funny that you say that, because now I never watched The Karate Kid growing up, but Luis and I were well, I guess you couldn't binge regular TV, but Luis and I were like total fans of American Ninja Warrior for many years. Okay.
I love that
So
show.
like the first couple years of our marriage, like every year it would come on, we got excited because the same people would compete with new
Yeah.
people too.
Yeah.
So like you would see these people like the first year, like they could never get past the one obstacle right at the end, and they would always
Sam.
he remembers his name, like that's how bad it was. But there was this guy who like he was not like, he didn't train doing anything other than being a farmer. He would, like, throw bales of hay.
Yeah.
And he
Oh my
was
God.
He had a hat. That was so
He
cool.
was like total cowboy.
Was that the one that wore? Did he wear jeans when he was competing?
Yes!
Yes, I know who you're talking about because I
Jeans?
used to watch the show with my dad. I know
He
exactly.
didn't have
who
a
you're talking
shirt
about.
and he had a hat.
He
and
wore
then
like a
jeans.
cowboy hat.
But he
no
didn't wear a
shoes.
shirt.
Did he wear
Yeah,
jeans?
yeah.
Yes, he wore jeans.
Yeah, he
Oh,
wore
jeez.
jeans. He
Cow-
was like,
funny
'cause that's
that
what
you
he feels comfortable in.
Yeah,
That's
the
like
cowboy
his-
ninja.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's funny that you say that because that's what this reminded me of. Like, him throwing bales of hay and him being, like, super jacked. 'Cause he
Right,
just
yeah.
threw stuff all day long.
Now you can
Hilarious.
catch a fly with chopsticks or
Hilarious.
whatever. You're so
Yes.
fast.
Speaking of catching a fly with chopsticks, Luis said this phrase probably 45 times and it was so applicable.
You could dodge a wrench. You could dodge a ball. You could dodge a transmission block. You could weave through traffic.
Oh my God, you're hilarious.
Yeah,
But it was
dodgeball.
true. It was like if you can dodge a demolition car, you can race. If you
Right.
can dodge bales of hay or, you know, moonshine
Yeah,
Through
you
the
can
driving.
run through the forest in the dark. You can race,
You
baby.
can race, baby. You can race. Gosh, freaking hilarious. So
It was good. I
the
liked it.
basic premise of this movie is that Lightning McQueen is getting old in the racing universe, right? So these new up-and-coming racers are coming in who are basically very highly technology and numbers crunching based. They don't even train outside on a track. They train on a simulator, which is freaking hilarious. I'm like, how do they even know? I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Very
right?
Generation Z of them, or what is it?
Very
Generation-
Generation Z of them. Like, come on. So obviously they're beating Lightning McQueen, and Lightning gets really upset in one race because Jackson Storm keeps beating him, and he rams into the wall and ends up crashing, right? This like most epic crash scene, which is absolutely beautiful. We were watching it on our TV as I was folding laundry. I was like, this is so realistic. And I mean, I've never seen a car crash I don't watch NASCAR, but I'm assuming that's probably exactly what it looks like. Absolutely terrifying.
Shoot.
I remember, and so like we talked about, like I come from NASCAR origins.
Yeah.
I remember multiple times like seeing crashes like that, and I mean, you're watching like live TV, and like you always see commercials with what's his name,
Jeff Gordon.
not Jeff Gordon. That's AARP now,
Dale
which
Earnhardt
also talks
Jr.?
about being old. No, Dale Earnhardt Jr., right?
Okay.
Because he's like the young face or whatever, but his dad died after a crash, like
right.
on TV. And that's some crazy stuff, and that's exactly what it looks like, where you're like, oh my God, that person did not make it, you know?
Well, yeah, and the fact that what Jackson Storm took out of that is like, well, he's retired now. I'm like, Jackson Storm, you need to calm down. You're rude. So it's very
We kept saying like, oh my God, he is
I
so
know.
passive aggressive.
And that's why I'm saying this is very Star Wars, because now, you know, the student is down, just like how Doc was. He got into a crash. He's down in his primer. He ain't got no paint on. He's
I
up
thought you were trying to say in his prime, but it was when he's down in his
his
primer.
primer. I was like, babe, Lightning's naked. Like,
Yeah, he looks like he's in his underwear.
yeah.
Oh my God, Adeline was like, he's not red. He's not red.
Well, yeah, they're making him look like Depression City, okay? He's up in there watching videos of Doc the Hudson Hornet like crashing and how his career was over. And I was just like, dude, okay, so this is when the Padawan is like reeled down, right? And he
Okay,
has
you know
not
what,
become the
Michelle?
master yet.
This is exactly what you do when you get sad and you watch those movies that make you want to cry, okay?
Oh, for sure. I ain't
Don't-
saying I don't do it. But I'm
don't
saying this
give
is
him a
where
hard
it gets
time.
very Star Wars referencey to me, where I'm like, oh, he's down. Yeah, someone's going to bring him back up, you know. First of all, Lightning McQueen would be nothing without Sally, because Sally usually has to be like, get your crap together, Lightning, and go race.
Come on, stickers.
Yeah, come on, stickers.
Stinky.
And he decides to race, which is great. It's also sad because Rusty's, they sold themselves to this big wig who's gonna teach Lightning how to be a racer.
Yep.
Whirling.
Sterling, thank you. I was like, what's his name? I don't remember. Sterling. So then Emily, yes, they get to this training center, which I just think is absolutely ridiculous that they're like training on treadmills versus like on an actual racetrack.
I mean,
it makes no sense.
it's dope. It's a cool place.
It's very cool, but this is like playing a video game.
But the fact that there isn't like a regular track like right out back, like outside, the
Well,
fact
that's
that
what you would think, right? Because like, imagine if they're people, they would be on a treadmill.
Yeah.
They would be, you know, doing all this different resistance stuff, but then you would go on the track and run.
You go outside. Cruz at one point, she's like, I've never driven outside before. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
You're
like,
a car. You're a car.
You're
dude.
literally the worst trainer ever.
How do you get to places?
First of all, okay,
Stop. We need to talk about the best part of the training center, okay? Reach for your lunch. Reach for your lunch.
Oh.
Reach for your lunch.
Okay, so Andre was getting so mad during all this.
I was
we're
hated that. That's the most
demeaning. Like real demeaning. Okay, so we're
It was demeaning, but it was hilarious. Like,
It
you
was very
can't
hilarious.
pretend like it wasn't funny because she's so into it. She is like, we're going to reach.
and reach
Send
for
her
your
up.
lunchbox and put then what is it? It's your lunch. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, I think it was also hilarious. So Cruz Ramirez is Lightning McQueen's trainer. And she's treating him like he's nobody, right? Like he just has to just do this. His treadmill's on like 5 miles per hour. She makes
She's like,
him
you're
take.
fragile.
She's like, you're fragile and old. We're gonna get this oil to places it's never been before, and you need your midday nap, right? Like she's ridiculous. And
That sounds like my ideal day, so I'd like to get on that training schedule.
well, obviously, but Andre's right. It's very demeaning for poor Lightning. Like
It was like she had never even heard of respect before. It was so upsetting to to have her go like, "Oh my God, Mr. McQueen, you're gonna hurt yourself," you know.
Well,
Touch your
I
lunch
don't
or whatever.
disagree with you, but that also is very funny. Like, I also
Hilarious.
find it hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I was more mad than finding it funny, but as
I thought it was hilarious.
as the movie goes on and their roles kind of change, when she starts making fun of him again at the end, then I'm dying laughing.
Or when he makes fun of her, it's like, ooh, that's good. That's
good.
like, that's what really
I like
sets it up.
Cruz.
It wouldn't have been as funny if she hadn't done it first. You know what I mean? But I do like when they go into the yoga room and she's like, we need to get in touch with your tires, and they like take his tires off, and he's just sitting there with no tires. And
It's like you have to name them.
He's like, I'm not doing this. Like,
He said lefty, righty, backy, and backy junior.
Yeah.
It's good. That's good. I like it.
It's very hilarious. So where this movie takes a turning point is Lightning is ready to get on the treadmill trainer, and it just goes haywire, right? Like Jackson Storm is on
the
there.
simulator for sure.
Yeah, and he's like passing him, and I think it's so funny because he's crashing. He's like, "You have hit a wall. You have killed." I don't know. It just says like a bunch of different things where it's so funny.
You are in the infield. You have destroyed a water fountain.
You've destroyed an ambulance, like everything, and it's hilarious. You know
thing.
why? Because I know exactly how he feels, because I was bad at those racing games at Funworks, okay? And that's basically what this is, where he's like, you are hitting a wall? Yeah, I was hitting the wall. I was breaking the water fountain, everything, okay? Okay. And basically, at this point, Mr. Sterling is like, your career's done. Cruz is fired, right? And you're not racing. But somehow he convinces Sterling to get out there, and he's like, I'm going to go race on the real track with this magic soil or sand or whatever. And he takes Cruz along with him. Oh, Louis said no. That's not magic.
Well, he kind of gets saddled with her. He doesn't want her to go.
Right.
Yeah, but this is where Cruz gets real funny to me. Like, she brings the simulator to the beach. I'm like, get that simulator out of here. Like,
She's all surprised when he doesn't want to get on it. She's like, oh, wait, you're going to go on the sand? What? That's crazy.
How do you try out here?
so funny.
So I'm going to say they montage it, even though they definitely do not montage it. But it would be great if it was.
Yeah.
For these purposes, they montage them doing the beach scene where he pretty much has to teach her to drive on the beach so that they can clock his speed, because she has the clocking mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So they learn to drive on the beach. Then they're like, we're going to go on a real racetrack. So then they go to the racetrack, but it ends up being a demolition derby.
The best scene in the movie, hands
Which
down.
is the best scene. So then he teaches her how to start dodging things, because you can't get hit by a demolition car. You're gonna die, right? Or get injured.
Gonna get
So then
dented or
they
something.
do that. She learns from him, but he feels like he's wasting his time because he needs to beat Jackson or he's gonna never race again. So he
Right.
gets mad at her and pretty much offends her until she leaves. And she reveals to him that she wishes she was always a racer. It was never her ambition to be a trainer.
She said, "Ask me if I wanted to be a trainer. Go ahead, ask me." I was like, "Oh, okay. She's got some fire in her."
Well, and I
And
told
then
Andre, I was like,
He doesn't even
lightning.
get to really ask her, and she's like, no, I was not.
Lightning's always being a jerk to people. Like, I get he always thinks it's about him, but he always does this, and then he's like, "Oh, I was a jerk." I'm like, "Yeah, you are a jerk, Lightning. It's not about you."
Wow.
But it is about him.
Hey,
It is about him. He's in a one-man sport. Okay, he's a fierce competitor.
Right.
Okay, I've learned through the listening or watching the Last Dance through Michael Jordan. There was times where he was a jerk.
Right.
But
had to
at
be.
the end of it, when he all came around, he was a good guy. It's just they're so hell bent on winning that nothing is going to be good enough unless it's done to the max capacity.
I
You know?
understand.
Agreed.
But Lightning, get it together.
Well, I mean,
Stop trying to have friends then. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
he wasn't trying to have friends. He was trying to go out and train on his own, and then he got saddled with
he was getting
a
in the
person
way.
who couldn't even keep up with him. He's like, "You're slowing me down. I came here to go faster. I am speed, and you are slow, and you're messing me up, and I'm mad about it."
She's
and then
not
he kicked
slow,
her out.
though, is the thing.
Right, and then they can collaborate and come together. But I completely understood Lightning's frustrations
I get
with
it.
Cruz.
I get it, but Lightning bugs me.
That's how I feel about old people. Like, you're slowing me down.
Dang.
Go faster.
And toddlers. Let's be real. Old people and young people. Just
Yeah.
So I know, totally.
get me down.
So Lightning calls up his best friend Mater and is like, "Mater, I don't know what to do." And Mater is like, "Well,
The
didn't
one Mater scene.
Yeah.
Doc learn from somebody?" And he's like, "Mater, you're so smart." So they go to what's his
That's what
name?
he said.
Smokey.
Smokey.
Smokey. They're gonna go find
Smokey.
Smokey because Smokey is still alive and he's who trained
Doc
the
Hudson.
fabulous Doc Hudson Hornet.
Which is actually a pretty cool,
Yes.
like, I like that part in the movie when they go and they, like, meet all the old timers and, like, hear the stories about Doc and, like, race on the old spots and the horse. I thought that was cool.
I love all of that. And Andre and I were watching something after
Yeah,
this movie they're based on, like, real racers.
Right.
Like the old timers.
There's an extra documentary style, pretty short, like 10 minutes, thing called Legacy on the DVD or on Disney Plus, and it kind of just shows you about the racers of that time. And the two specific ones that they focus on in this doc are so when they go into the bar where all the old racers hang out, there's a girl one and then there's like a black one, and basically they're the two pioneers for their two specific races or whatever genders that started it all in NASCAR from racing way back in the day.
Like an African American and a female.
Yes, exactly. And so they kind of detail in this doc how the real life counterparts for those people were real and how they got their start racing, and they kind of just had to take what they had, like they mentioned.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not going to give it to you, so you have to go and
I like how she's like, I stole the number.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Apparently the guy, the black guy, he didn't have like a sponsor or a pit crew, so every time he had to stop to go into the pit, he just had to open the hood of his car himself and do all the work. And so he didn't win a ton of races, but they were saying, like, if he had a pit crew, he would have been great. He would have won a whole bunch of things.
And
can you imagine? And it's so funny too because, like, again, knowing a little bit, pit crews are so important because they literally mean the difference between losing all the work that you did on the track or being like out of, because if you get out fast and you can get all your stuff done, then you can make up 3 or 4 spots just because you pitted correctly.
Yeah.
In the beginning, Lightning, he went out there without having that last tire replaced, and that's what caused him to crash in the first place. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because he was being
right.
stupid.
He was rushing.
Oh, that's what it was. He didn't hit a wall. Yeah, it was his tire.
Yeah.
And then the girl basically she just wanted to drive real fast. And like the only way that she could drive fast legally was to
Racing.
like be a racer. And she was crashing all the time.
Constantly.
Like constantly crashing. And then they would just take pictures of her smiling in her crash car like so they were
Why'd she
saying
not die?
basically her legacy is that each time she crashed she didn't die and would get up, drive really fast and crash again. Like she was crazy.
She just
I
but she
love
kept
that.
going.
Yeah, but she kept going. So it was like fine.
You're
know?
welcome,
I love it.
Danica Patrick.
Yeah, guess she didn't die, so it's okay. You know what I mean? But she never gave up. She just kept going type of thing.
I love
But-
it. That's hilarious.
And they were saying like there was no safety features like on these old cars. There was
Oh,
no
no.
like it was just like you're racing in an old car.
They didn't have air conditioning either.
Yeah, nothing.
South-
Watch it. It's like 10 minutes.
in the
I think
summer?
it's on Disney Plus. It was pretty good. So
Oh, cool.
I kind of appreciate all that more because yeah, there's all these old timers and they're taking it back to the roots, right? They're gonna teach Lightning how to get
And Cruz.
fast and race again. All the while,
Well,
Cruz is also learning everything as well.
They take her muffler off and they like duct tape Storm stuff, like Jackson Storm stuff on her car.
Hilarious.
Throw a spoiler
And-
on her.
Yes, it's hilarious. And now they're like, "Oh, you even sound like him." It's very cute. They do a good job with
It's
that.
very funny. And so they start training and also during that last scene with Smokey and the boys or whatever, Smokey and Lightning have like a talk and Smokey
It was
goes,
cute.
you know, racing wasn't necessarily the best part of Doc's life. The best part of his life was afterwards when he went out to retire in Radiator Springs and he met you. And then he put all of his energy and focus into training you. And that's what he really loved
I'm
about.
not gonna lie,
about everything.
I teared up during that whole scene. I was like, "Oh, that's nice."
And Lightning goes like, "Oh, I could be happy without racing? That's crazy."
What?
That's
Okay.
wild. I never thought of such
So
a
we
thing.
kind of knew where this movie was going at this point, right? And Andre's voices are still ridiculous. But
It's funny though too because you didn't see. It is interesting though. Like when you think about, I mean, I'm going to make Cars 3 very deep real fast, but like when you think about like relationships that you might have with like a grandparent or something, like how, you know, you see them as a child maybe as being like super grumpy or being super like one way. And then you
Right.
realize when you get older, like, oh my gosh, they actually were really loving. That's just the way that they presented themselves. You know what I mean? So it's interesting because he never saw Duck.
Duck.
Duck Hudson.
He never saw Doc as being like a loving figure, but he actually was super, like, saw him as a kid. You can tell.
Right.
He saw him as like a counterpart versus just like someone he was training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time he got passed up, he was super proud. He's like, "Oh, look at him go, that kid. Oh boy."
You put your hand up like they were gonna high five.
which is what he was realizing he was doing for Cruz, right? So he goes to the race and he's pretty upset because Cruz beat him in that last race, which she probably wasn't supposed to do right before a race because you ruined his morale, Cruz. Okay, like that was a bad call, Cruz. Even if you could beat him,
What are you
just,
gonna
like,
do? Let him
stop.
win and
Yes,
let him be old and think he's still good at stuff?
and that's
That's called dreams of grandeur. Okay, no, you
Yeah.
gotta like
Put him out to pasture.
Yeah. Put him in the
beat down
dust.
his hopes and dreams.
Yeah, it was just kind of sad, but it's okay. He does his race, and you know
He
he's actually
tries.
doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Like on his race, he's doing a great job. But over the headsets, which does this happen? Why are they all connected on the same line on the headset? That happened in Cars too as well. Get off the headset. Get off the line when you're talking to somebody else. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
So
There was only-
Sterling,
there was
Like
only
how
one
you could
headset,
hear
right?
multiple people.
no, like the
talking.
lines, because there's multiple people connected to the headsets that can
Oh.
talk into them, like the radio, the station. You
I
know,
was
it's
always,
like-
I was always under the impression it was just the
Pit crew
The-
and the chief.
yeah, it was like the pit chief that was on, or
Right.
the crew chief, excuse me.
I don't
that
think
was
so. I
on.
think there's multiple people that can
Maybe.
be
No,
connected.
it's only because obviously you don't want your competitors to hear you.
Right.
Well, they didn't do that in this movie though. Like
But-
they were all on the same line, but
No, only Smokey was
Smokey.
on the phone.
Yeah.
He was only the crew chief, but then I think
Sterling was
Sterling took
connected.
over.
Sterling had
Like, I
one
think
too.
he
Yeah.
Yes.
because he's the
So-
sponsor. I mean, I'm sure he could do what he wants.
Yeah.
Like, get me one of those headsets so I can tell you what's what.
Right.
Yeah.
I would be like, get off my headset. Like
Everybody on your team, that's probably the one fact I know, everybody on your team in NASCAR are on your channel.
Right.
Could be.
Doesn't mean
Potentially.
they can.
Not that
I
they
think
can
if I was
talk,
a
but they're
NASCAR
just
driver,
there.
I would literally just want my coach on the headset. I'd be like, everybody else get out of here. Like
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was in gymnastics too. Like if other people were cheering for you or like telling you what to do, I honestly tuned them out and would only focus in on like whatever my coach was saying. You know what I mean? Like that just is how it is, you know? So Sterling is like basically telling Cruz, you're not going to watch the rest of the race. You need to go get ready, go set up the training center for training another person. And basically tells her everything that she's been hearing her whole life, right? Like, you're not a racer, you're a coach, you're a trainer, like, go do your job.
And he's very much insinuating that Lightning is going to lose and that the next guy needs to get ready because he's going to race next week. And,
go train the guy with the bugs.
You're on the headset, like, Lightning can hear you. And that's why I was saying, I was like, this is, like, ridiculous. Like,
bizarre,
I'd be so pissed, you know what I mean? And so Lightning is not having that, but luckily they kind of found Smokey knew like this thing in the rule book where anybody can race. It's the number that they're going to look for.
Right. The number has been entered into the race.
The number has been entered into the race, not Lightning. So they get Cruz back and they give her the number and she goes out in the race. And Lightning is like telling Smokey like what to tell her, which I think is so funny. He's
that
like,
was very cute.
Tell her she's a fluffy cloud. And he's like, I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying that.
You can see his manliness like, I am not going to say that.
Tell her all the crabbies went night-night on the beach. And he's like, why don't you take this? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that, right? And that's where we get like this transition where like the student has become the master or whatever, which I thought was really nice.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was cool. And
which we kind of already knew the movie was going that way. It was just like, how were they going to do it type of thing.
Well, and I like that she actually got to do like a real race.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she didn't have to like wait and get all pumped up about it, because this is going to sound like a really stupid comparison, but this is how I feel when I get into those situations. Like if I'm thinking about it, I can psych myself out beforehand before I get there. But when you just get thrown into something, you just do it and you don't have a choice. Like, that's how it was, like, the first time I had to teach a bar class. I thought I had, like, 2 more weeks before I was going to be put on the schedule, and I was, like, freaking out. And then one of the owners was like, I don't really feel well. Can you just teach the class that starts in 5 minutes? And I was like,
well, that's how it kind of was.
I guess I got to do it then. And it was fine because I didn't have a choice to, like, worry about it. Just do it.
They would tell us to, like, visualize our routines and stuff like that. And my mom used to get mad at me because I would just be sitting there eating French fries and chicken nuggets, listening to music, like not doing what also they used to get mad at me because I would eat McDonald's all the time, and you're not supposed to eat McDonald's as a gymnast, but
gymnast diet,
whatever. So I would just be like listening to music or singing, or apparently, according to my mother, flirting with boys when I was 5 years old, you know, doing gymnastics things. Just not doing what the coaches were telling me to do, right? Like, go sit down, visualize your routine, and then I would just get up there and I would do it, and I would win first place against all these 10-year-olds, and they'd get really pissed at me. But I fully believe it's because I wasn't thinking about it. Because as I got older in gymnastics and would think about, oh my God, this is dangerous, I need to visualize the routine, and then I started psyching myself out and not doing
for sure. You overthink it, and then you make weird mistakes because you're overthinking things.
Yeah, why do you think little kids
would have?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, she would have gone out there and been like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's the same as like little kids just jumping into the pool water and we're like, oh no. You know?
Yeah,
so same thing.
That's one of the most old man things about me is I go very slowly into the water. So Cruz.
I used to. Not anymore. I just.
You don't have a choice. You have to
jump
in
after
a toddler now.
It's either I'm jumping in first and going through the whole, iceberg thing, Titanic and stuff, or my toddler goes in first and she's in danger. So
hopping in.
Let me on that door. So Cruz, she handily makes her way up through the ranks of the race. She gets up to Storm up at the front.
With her sick graffiti paint, which I'm really happy
with. I like how
Ramon
said, oh, this is all I could do right now in such a short notice. And it looked pretty legit.
It looked cooler than any other.
I love Ramon.
Nice.
He's legit.
He did that all in the time it takes to do a pit replacement. It was nuts. So she goes up to the front. Storm is up there. He kind of starts talking some mess to her and kind of gets in her head.
Smack.
Yeah, he starts talking smack. And Lightning lets her know that like he's scared of you, and that's why he would even do that. Otherwise, he would have just kept going and not backed off. So she gets right up on his tail and starts talking smack back to him. He starts freaking out.
He's like, I'm drifting. I'm drifting you. I love when she turns on the GPS and it's like tracking his speed.
Yeah, that was cool.
Hilarious.
207. And then Storm starts to get angry. He pins her up against the wall, and then she pulls one of the sickest moves I've ever seen.
The Doc move.
It's a Doc move. Doc coined this thing where he goes up on the wall, flips up over the other car,
intentionally drives into the wall.
Yes, and then zooms in for the win.
Just so you know, everyone in our house when we were watching this morning goes, ooh. Even Addie, oh my God, she did it!
Aww.
It's exciting.
So cute.
It's an exciting move. And then Cruz wins the race, and
it's well, I keep saying Doc and Cruz because Lightning comes in and gets a new freaking paint job where he's blue, and it says like, doesn't it say like the fabulous Lightning McQueen?
Yeah. Something like that.
He did not need to paint himself blue.
It could have been red with the fabulous.
Yeah, I think so.
It was so funny when Cruz sees him and she goes, "Oh, subtle."
You know what I really like though is I like the wrap up of the whole Dynaco thing because I feel like in the first movie I really liked the Tex character who owned Dynaco.
Yeah,
he seems like a nice guy who
cool
just
billionaire.
really wants someone cool to be on his team and stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets Cal, obviously, and he's
Which he's
so
still a little upset about.
I also love
he buys Rusty's from Sterling.
Right.
So now he's like a part of the Dynaco family still, and Tex is like, "Oh, let's do this." I'm like, that's a cool wrap up. I like it.
I like him a lot too, and I think one of my favorite things about this movie, and I don't even know if I kept saying it every time Chick Hicks like came on the screen, and he's like the commentator, but he's like still being mean to Lightning and like, Lightning's an old car, haha. I'm like, Chick Hicks, you're
definitely
so
Lightning's
old.
last race.
Like Chick Hicks, come on.
They called him chicken bits.
But
Kachiga.
It was cracking me up that he was like the old commentator because Andre made a comment. He was like, yeah, every sport, they either become a coach or they're like a commentator on TV now, you know? So there's Chick Hicks.
Or they go with their fashion line or whatever, which is what Sterling was trying to steer Lightning to do.
So funny.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. I also really liked Cruz's Dynaco wrap on her body.
Yeah, it looked good on her.
It looked really cool.
Well, and it was cool because she didn't have to have a new paint job. It was just yellow with like the blue wrap, which was sick. Which, Lightning could have done that. He could have been red with the blue wrap.
Yeah.
Or like the opposite color.
Lightning took the I'm the master a little bit too seriously. He's like, I'm like Doc.
I'm Doc. I'm Doc now. Get it? Me. I'm Doc.
If I were Sally, I would have been like,
she even was like, cool, trying something new. And I was like, she didn't like it. She's like, where's Francesca? Or Francesco,
yeah.
Francesco works.
I think we had mentioned it before, but the animation step up in this movie from Cars 2, which I agree was beautiful, to Cars 3, where they just add so much more detail to every frame of the movie. There's like mud under Lightning's mouth, and it looks gritty and real. That mud scene when they're doing the Crazy Eight, it looks awesome.
I love that. So good.
It looks so cool. And then the crashes and the flips all just look impeccable.
Because even
they
like
almost
the
look real.
sparks flying or smoke or whatever, it's like you could like smell it.
And there are a lot of really cool shots in this movie too.
I have to say the ocean one is my favorite just because it looked so real. That beach looked like the beach itself and the water looked like we were looking, like you said, cinematography. It looks like we're looking at a real shot.
Absolutely.
That they then put like an animated car on, but still it was very beautiful. They did a great job with this movie. I liked it.
Totally, I agree.
Indeedy.
Luis is dying on the vine, y'all. Can you tell? Look at him. Oh.
Wake up, Luis. Okay, Andre's going to talk about shmoney.
Yes.
Give us some money.
Take a peek here. So this, yes.
No, go ahead.
This movie
like our dance.
had a budget of
lots of money.
Where'd the budget go? Okay, it's not telling me what the budget is, but
you're hiding.
Yeah, it's hiding. It ended up not making quite as much money as Cars 2.
Cars 2 made more.
But it did come up with $383 million at the worldwide box office.
Because people were like, Cars 2 sucked. We're not going to go see this crap. And that's kind of how I was.
Right, which is interesting because, as we have said, this is far clearly the better movie.
Yeah.
But that being said, on Rotten Tomatoes, Cars 3 has a 70%, which is still pretty low for a Pixar movie. Not
Yeah.
quite 39%, but
Not quite.
not quite.
I mean, Cars 1 is still the best out of them, like by far.
Right.
And I think it's so hard for sequels because they put their all into the Toy Story sequels, and then they don't put as much into these, where it's like we're missing that. You know what I mean? Like that connection. So
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah, it's all interesting.
At least this one, the score and the music felt a little bit more Cars universe to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cars 1 still has the better music and score and everything. But it was good. Like, I like Cruz Ramirez. You see her in the parks sometimes now. And all good.
Yeah.
I like that she was ethnic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There were a whole lot more female roles in Cars 3 than in the two previous ones.
That's definitely true.
Because Mrs. Fritter, right? Like the school bus was
Freaking
female.
hilarious.
She was like a very cool character.
Yeah.
Cruz.
I literally love when she's like, "You're gonna feel the wrath of the Tri-County something school district."
That was so good.
Freaking hilarious.
There was also the lady commentator, Natalie Certain, who was just giving us the numbers. She was like, Lightning only has a 1.5% chance of winning this next race. That was cool.
Suck.
Yeah. Straight up. Okay, let's rate this bad boy.
Luis, go ahead.
7.
7. Poor Louise.
But you gave the other movie a 6? So it was only slightly better than Cars 2?
Honestly.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I liked it better than the other one, but I just think it's too long. Like there's parts that are slow for me. The good parts are really good, and the slow parts are like, come on, let's get to the good parts.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they could have, like I said in the beginning of this, I think that they could have cut a couple scenes. I know they were trying to do nostalgia, but like, we have 3 movies. Like we know, we know.
Let's pick it up.
I don't disagree with
This
you.
isn't Toy Story. Nobody's crying over Cars. Okay.
No. And I'm sorry, just Cars 1 is so much better than the other ones. And granted, Cars, like in general, is not my favorite franchise nor my favorite movie, but it makes you more nostalgic just to watch the regular Cars movie. Where it's like, oh, okay, that's familiar. Like, that's what I know. That's what Cars Land is like about, you know, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it the same score as Emily. It's a 7.5. It's a good movie. I was like, thank gosh we're watching this one now and not Cars 2 because I needed to end on a better Cars universe note. You know, it is good.
The planes!
I know. The cinematography, though, like 10 out of 10. That was absolutely beautiful. The animation. I keep saying cinematography.
It's cool.
I mean, it is.
It was shot on. Yeah, it was shot on location.
It looks like it was. Okay, it's fine.
It looks gorgeous. the whole way
Pixar,
through.
you blow us out of the water every single time with your animation.
Well,
like
not every. Oh, okay, yeah, with the
What?
animation. Sure.
yeah, with the animation. Yes. 10 out of 10.
They very
Pixar.
rarely disappoint with animation.
No, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Storyline, movie-wise, 7.5. It's a solid C plus for me. It's good. I'll probably watch it again if I ever get in a Cars mood. Andre.
I thought you were gonna say in a car crash. I was like, that's no.
Now's,
In a Cars mood.
now's the time to
Although
watch
I did
Cars
want to be
3.
like, life is a highway, and I couldn't, you know. That's why I'm like, maybe I should just go back to Cars. Just stick
Do
with
you remember when we turned it into the Spanish song? Vida es una calle,
Oh yeah.
yo manejo toda la
Toda la
noche.
noche. I remember that.
Luis's face.
Whatever.
All right.
Andre.
I'm gonna give
Michelle
this.
and I
movie-
enjoyed that, okay? I'm
We
gonna
did.
pretend I have a microphone. Go ahead.
I'm
Oh
gonna
my
give
God, I love that pen.
It's a TARDIS.
Cute.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I
Oh,
liked it a lot. And
Hey.
that score might be pumped up just because of how bad Cars 2 was and how much I like this more than that, and how long it's been since I've seen Cars 1. Because I don't really remember the entire plot to Cars 1.
Okay,
but
my younger sister used to watch Cars all the time, so I feel like I have that movie memorized.
Right.
So this was a redemption story for Andre.
yes, absolutely. It really,
Hey, for all of us, okay?
it really picked itself back up by its bootstraps, its tire straps. Whatever.
Right, Axel.
Axles.
So yeah, I really liked how beautifully shot this movie was. The animation was top notch, and I like the calls to nostalgia and legacy that the way that they're portrayed in this movie, the way that Lightning eases into his new role as a coach
As
versus
Mr. Miyagi.
yes, as him becoming Mr. Miyagi. I like the way that happened quite a bit.
I'd rather him be Mr. Miyagi than Yoda, okay?
Right.
You know, Emily, all those Star Wars movies are on Disney Plus now. So is the Mandalorian documentary.
Girlfriend.
Huh?
I've seen all of the Star Wars movies.
What are you trying
She
to say?
needs to give him another chance.
Oh, I mean,
I have seen them all. You forget that I lived with a man who like grew up in that time period, and we like watched this crap on repeat.
Did you watch The Last Jedi?
No, the latest one we have not seen.
Okay.
Rise of Skywalker.
Eventually, I'm sure we'll see it.
Yeah, you
Last Jedi was dumb.
But I don't like Mark Hamill as an adult, so
as a grown-up adult.
He
I
freaked
agree.
me out. So
I agree. So we
try to
did.
stay away from him.
Guess what, listeners? Guess what? Next week we're 100 episodes old.
And we're going to do a movie that Michelle and I said we would never do. We said never.
We said never, but the thing is, we've done most of our classic animation movies that we don't have much left. And we had to make a choice. Did we want to watch Oliver and Company?
No.
That wasn't even on my list.
No.
That wasn't on the list.
So really our choice was between Bambi and the one that we're going to do, The Fox and the Hound. Because we decided we would rather cry over dogs than deer. I don't know what's wrong with us. But we are going to watch an animated classic film, The Fox and the Hound.
That's right.
Andre's
I know
been
why we
wanting
chose
to do
this one. It's because it has a better storyline than Bambi.
Right.
Yeah, Bambi is just like, you shot the mom and now he's just chilling. Like, I don't know what
I
he's
guess
doing.
if that's what it is. I haven't seen it since I was 4 or something like that. I
probably.
don't remember Bambi
And
at all.
honestly, I haven't seen Fox and the Hound in quite a while, but I will tell you that Fox and the Hound was my older sister's one of her favorite movies, like animated movies. She watched it a lot growing up as a kid.
What the heck, Nikki?
I-
Why?
She really likes Fox and the Hound.
I liked it a lot too.
I mean, I like dogs.
What are you guys, heartless?
I'm not ready to cry, that's for sure. But
I'm kind of
Andre,
thinking about not watching it with Adeline. Like, I'm kind of worried about
Really?
watching it with her.
I don't think you should.
Neither of them
Oh.
died, do they? Does one of them die?
I think so.
I don't remember.
I think one gets shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
We'll
I
find
would.
out next week, I suppose.
I don't think I would, Emily. But Andre's excited because he can't remember it. That's why.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Luis has never seen it, so he
Luis
doesn't
never
know
seen
who
Oh
dies.
no, Luis.
I
Your
know
heart's
who
gonna be
dies. It's
broken.
not that hard.
Who dies?
In England, they hunt foxes for sport.
I think this movie takes place in America.
Mm,
We'll talk about it next week, listeners. Episode 100.
I'm already getting emotional.
That's what we have a lot of fun stuff planned for after this. Okay,
Yeah,
we have a couple of themed months coming up. Maybe we're bringing Summer of Heroes back. I don't know. So just get ready to cry with us, and then we'll be a lot more happy after that.
Yes,
okay?
and let us know what you want in the future. Let us know what you want post episode 100.
Yeah,
from
what do you
the Walt
guys
Vault.
want to hear?
What are you
Do
been
you want to
watching?
hear Star Wars? Do you want to hear Marvel? Do you
Do we
want to hear
do-
Disney Channel original?
The
Do you
weird
want the
stuff
Princess
that's
Bride? I
yeah.
don't know. That's Disney
the
owned
weird
now.
stuff that's on Disney Plus now, like The Princess Bride and Splash and the Angels in the Outfield. Oh wait, no, that was already.
Please tell us.
What if we did like a TV series?
We could
like,
do that too.
oh, jeez, you gotta watch
Season of Boy Meets World or
oh my God, we already binge watched all of them.
Darkwing Duck.
No,
whatever
I'm
you want
saying
from us.
like what if we did like an episode all about like Jeff Goldblum or whatever?
Right. Yeah, we could
You
do
know what
all
I
that
mean?
kind of
We've
stuff.
seen most of them.
Yeah.
You want us to talk about The Mandalorian? Let us know. I don't know.
Let us know.
So hit us up in the comments for sure.
Yes, go
It's like I'm
to
mad that I brought that.
hit us up on at the Walt Vault Pod on social media.
Don't make
we're-
us watch Bambi though.
We're everywhere. I mean, we'll probably do Bambi at some point.
No.
We're everywhere. Go there to let us know what you thought of Cars 2 and Cars 3 and what you are expecting from us for The Fox and the Hound. Send an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. Support us on all of our podcast platforms. Just click subscribe on whatever you're listening to now, if it's YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever we are. We're everywhere. Go there. If you want to support us with money, you can go to patreon.com/The Walt Vault. Sign up. It's only $1, and you get access to all of our extra content, including the copious notes that I take for these movies.
Copious.
It's a whole gaggle of notes.
Yeah, like this morning when I was like, okay, we're gonna fold the laundry, while we watch the movie. He was like, how am I supposed to take notes?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then fold your laundry right now.
And that's what I did.
And he did. Yeah.
Settled.
I thought she was trying to call you out hardcore about the laundry still sitting on your bed or something.
I did it.
No, it's fine. We folded it, but I'm just cracking up because I'm such a multitasker. I'm like, I'll watch the movie and fold laundry. That's fine. He's like, how am I going to take notes? I was like, I don't know.
Luis told me yesterday I couldn't have dessert until I did the laundry, and I looked at him like, excuse me? Which is rude because he just didn't want to have to do it himself because he would still be doing it right now if he had done it. So he was like,
yeah, y'all don't need to know how long that laundry hasn't been folded for. We're going to move on away from this quarantine life, okay?
Anyway, you guys, go do your chores. Listen to us while you do it. That's been it for this week.
That's a good idea. Yeah, listen to us while you do your chores.
We'll see you next time for episode 100. The vault is now closed.